Well, Iran is even saying that it was accomplished, and it will take them years to rebuild what was destroyed. So even if you do not believe what President Trump or his administration is saying, Iran loses a bargaining chip by lying. In other words, well done, Mr. President. Yes, that is the gateway for legal immigration. The Gators are to keep the illegals in there. Legal immigrants came in legally and are thus not charged with breaking in. Illegals came in illegally and thus are charged with a crime. They could have taken the free plane ride home, but instead they chose to stay in the country that they broke into. This is all on them. I'm trying to find anything outside of Trump derangement syndrome that would give any evidence that President Trump is a fascist. I'm sure that there will be evidence eventually. Until then, someone who wants to seize the means of production and wants government-run grocery stores is a threat to Democrats. Not because they hate socialism, they desire communism. It is a threat because it is exposing all of their plans to sunlight. Even though patriots have understood their end goal for years, but I digress. There are a lot of problems with the prison system, and only a fool would deny that. However, the Alligator Alcatraz is designed to be a temporary residence for these illegals, because as soon as we can get them to their home, they can go home. They had an option to turn themselves in for a free ride home, but they instead just stayed in the same country that they broke into. For those of you who are not aware, this is a reference to a peaceful protest of a rancher from a few years ago. It has been a while, but it is good to remember this event. After all, it was a conservative protest, thus it was peaceful, and law enforcement instantly came to deal with him, as opposed to how they did nothing to the Black Crimes Matter rioters. This just proves that Mr. Bowling does not pay attention to history. If this neighbor wanted to protest in the way that he is stereotypically describing, not only would the government leave him alone, candidates on the Democrat ticket would fundraise for getting him out of jail. Mr. Bowling just loves his gibberish. It looks like a white liberal dressed up as a straw man of President Trump and went to the window just to make a joke about his Trump derangement syndrome. For the liberals who are apparently not aware, this is America's annual No Kings celebration. Either way, what has President Trump done to make you think that he was a king? Go ahead. I will wait. In the meantime, I will move on to the next comic. If you commit any crime, there are consequences. Freedom is taken away from murderers, rioters, arsonists, human traffickers, drug dealers, not to mention anyone who is guilty of breaking and entering. But liberals want certain people to never face justice for those crimes. They are judging the criminals based on skin shade, rather than judging them for being criminals. $50 billion was allocated in the bill for rural hospitals. At the same time, only illegals and those who are abusing the system had any cuts in benefits. This is the problem with big bills. Not that Mr. Deering would care to read a small bill. Either way, this comic is just more fake news. Okay, this is an apples to oranges comparison. From what I could find, warnings to the campground were issued by the National Weather Service, and those on the ground had a 3-hour head start. The problem is that people did not listen to the warnings, or the park did not give proper warnings. Either way, the problem has absolutely nothing to do with imaginary climate change, and everything to do with the scientific nature of weather. Furthermore, are liberals still obsessing over a vacation? Israel has a lot of enemies in almost every direction. While they are dealing with Hamas sympathizers, they also have to deal with international threats. Whether the ends justify the means is not the issue at hand. The issue at hand is that this cartoonist does not understand Israel has a right to self-defense. There's a difference between using that money to get rid of the illegals and using FEMA aid to put them up in luxury hotels. The Biden administration wanted the illegals to stay. President Trump and Governor DeSantis are trying to get rid of the illegals. This is the difference that Mr. Jones does not understand. And from what I can tell, Florida can request reimbursement, but has not requested said reimbursement. It was built with Florida tax dollars. Yes, we have this rubber stamp of the president being allowed to do his job, as opposed to untold numbers of district judges who have to collectively approve every decision. If the fake news is gutted, that is their own fault for being fake news. If she is referring to PBS and NPR, why do we need government-approved media? That just sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. And the liberals are only impotent because he is the Teflon Don. Everything that they tried to destroy him with fails in the end. And as you recall, his big, beautiful bill just barely passed. The rhinos and never-Trumpers are a bigger threat, if you ask me.